It's game 16 of the NAB Challenge, but it's more than that tonight. It's Lance Franklin, the $10 million man's first game for the Swans Coast Eagles, coming off a big Game 1 win in town for the hit-out. It's the Swans and the Eagles live as part of Fox Footy's 18 games in 18 days.
The West Coast Eagles had a disappointing 2013, but they hit Blacktown International Sportspark in good touch after an impressive NAB Challenge Game 1 belting of the Fremantle Dockers, and they look like they're in with a big chance tonight up against the Sydney Swans in pretty good conditions, considering it's been raining for most of the day here in Sydney. Joining me in commentary for the whole night is Tony Shaw, the former Premiership captain of the Collingwood Footy Club and the dual Premiership player for the North Melbourne Football Club, and now the coach, won't give you the premiership just yet, but the coach of the West Coast Eagles, Adam Simpson. Now, Adam, I've got to ask you to start with. You're an hour and a half late. What happened?
Traffic in Sydney. No, we were okay. We were there a good half an hour before the team meeting, so we'll adjust.
Simo, I thought last week winning becomes a habit, and I think the club needed that to get off to a good start, yourself included, against Freo.
Yeah, it was important for us. We wanted to start the pre-season well, and we're in a different phase of our journey than Fremantle, so obviously we went pretty hard. Our intent and work rate was at a high level, and hopefully we get that tonight.
We know you've got some super experienced players and all-time greats of the West Coast at your disposal, but one of the youngsters we want to focus on tonight, Dom Sheed, a talented young player from WA, your #1 pick last year. Tell us about what we can expect from him.
Well, he's an inside mid. He knows how to find the ball. We're not putting too much expectations on him at the moment. We just want to see how he goes today, and we haven't penciled him for round 1 or anything like that. We just want to see how he goes in the head of the battle, but he plays like a man already.
Well, by all accounts, last week you were a bit nervous yourself going into your first game.
Yes.
Did you learn it, like you've been an apprentice for a long time? Is there something that surprised you in your first real hit out as a senior coach?
It's probably not the match day or the week-to-week coaching. It's the management of your staff and your support staff and running programs and leadership programs. All those things that are involved with senior coaches. As an assistant, you just don't experience. So those things I'm adapting to.
All the best for tonight and certainly for the remainder of the season.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
yeah, Adam Simpson, he should have a fantastic career with the West Coast Eagles. Some massively good feedback about the way he started over there in Perth. Now, a man that has had a massive impact at his new club since taking over a few years ago, John Longmire, and he's went with Ben Dixon.
John, all the hype tonight will be around Buddy Franklin. As a prize recruit, obviously impressed you so far?
Yeah, look, he didn't do a lot of training before Christmas, but he's been training really well after Christmas now. And now, like Roberts, Thompson and Pike, those boys won't play the whole game. They're just looking to get some match conditioning, and that's what we're out of really tonight.
Got some great stats, as we see there down there, averaging 3 goals a game. It looks a little bit bigger this year, John. Maybe it is the injuries, obviously been in the gym, but a bit more size.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big boy. I mean, he's big and strong, and that's what makes him hard to beat. But I'm sure over the next coming weeks he'll be really working hard and making sure that he's in his best possible condition he can be.
It's not always that it's a superstar walks into your training sessions. Sophia Vergara, well, when they walk in, you're a big Modern Family fan, John, aren't you? So she just sprung it on you, didn't she?
Yeah, she turned up halfway through training, which was tremendous. That's her fiancé there in the pink, and he was a lovely bloke. He's a mad sports nut, and there was only about 2 or 3, Tommy Walsh, myself and probably Kurt Tippett, they're able to meet her. So the other boys were a bit unlucky and a bit disappointed straight afterwards.
After seeing the vision, I'm disappointed in the way that you handed over the Guernsey. Have a look at this. It's like a 10-bout boxing match. You've just touched knuckles. You're a big fan. Where was the hug and the kiss? And welcome to the Swans.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in myself, but the fiancé in pink was a pretty big bloke, so I didn't want to go too close to her.
Good luck tonight, John.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, John Longmire, you'd be pretty happy as a new coach to have, well, not a new coach, but to have a new player like Buddy Franklin in your forward line, no doubt about that. Let's have a look at this lineup, and it was mentioned in the pre-game, Lewis Roberts-Thompson comes back after just 4 games in 2013, so he's recovered from that knee injury. Massive inclusion, Buddy Franklin at centre forward. Looking forward to seeing Sam Reid again. Very impressive against GWS last week, kicking 3 goals early in the game. And big Tom Derricks, I think he was impressive as well, got his hand on the ball. Had the 3 years at Richmond and just the 2 games, but I think he can make a statement.
And the West Coast Eagles, well, great to see Shannon Hearn across half-back again. Gives them a lot of drive, missed a lot of last year. I was really impressed with Xavier Ellis, who played across half-back and had the ball on a string in the first half against Fremantle last week. And Elliot Yeo just showed that he's going to be a really talented player. Can go on ball. He ran from half-back, kicked a super goal, which is a 9-pointer, of course, he just shows he's going to play a big part in this side. And I think anybody coached by Adam Simpson is going to be competitive in most games, even though it is just a NAB Cup challenge as such.
The bounce of the ball not far away, toss of the coin, and Lance Franklin watch coming up straight after this break. A little bit of light rain here at Blacktown earlier today, but the rain has cleared. Perfect conditions for football. Sydney Swans and the West Coast Eagles as we head back downstairs. Alistair Lynch and Ben Dixon.
Thanks, Dwayne. Yeah, actually the ground's in fantastic condition because that rain has been around for a fair amount of the day, and a bit of rain, a bit of water laying outside the stadium, but it looks like it drains extremely well here.
Yeah, and greasy conditions, but as you said, the hype will be around Buddy. Doesn't mark it above his head, so these conditions will suit him tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to, looking at tonight, outside Buddy Franklin, because obviously Buddy Franklin is the draw card. Everyone's coming here to see Buddy get off to a flying start, and everyone will be watching on TV, no doubt, for that as well. I'm looking forward to seeing the combinations in the ruck. We spoke about Tom Derricks. There's big Nankervis, the under-18 All-Australian from last year. There's young Naismith, who's the rookie-listed player, a local recruit in Sydney here. He's 205 centimetres. And Mike Pike, very unlucky last year to miss out on the All-Australian 40-man squad, and I think he's in for a very, very big year. And let's have a look here. The toss of the coin. Scotty Selwood's won the toss, and I think the West Coast Eagles got their favour. They'll kick with the wind in the first. And Dicko, what are you looking forward to with the West Coast Eagles?
Oh, just the energy. I know Adam Simpson's new to the job, but what he's brought so far is just energy. Against Fremantle, had a dominant role, but missing a few stars tonight. But it's time for the young boys, new coach. It's a clean slate. Come in, show them what they're worth, and play to his game plan. His game plan will have plenty of rotations in and under. We know that they'll be a hard team. That's the way he's coached. From Hawthorn, they know the press. They know how to obviously attack and apply that pressure. If they do it tonight, they're up for a big game.
He sounded like he was a bit nervous for NAB Challenge Game 1 up against Fremantle. There's a lot of pressure in WA and a lot of focus on that game. But he looks like he's settling in. He's a very relaxed person by the look of it.
Oh, he is, no doubt. He's got a great grip of how the players think, and his methods of teaching are really conducive to the young, wide generation, which is great. And the way he goes about his footy, he just keeps it interesting the whole time, which is what you need in AFL footy.
Now, you've done a little bit of coaching yourself. You were coach at the Hawthorn Football Club, and also you played with Buddy Franklin as well. Now, so you know Buddy better than most. Tell us about Buddy Franklin. What's his strengths and weaknesses? We know he's a super player, but you mentioned before he's not a contested mark player.
No, he's not your lead, one grab, contested mark, and we noticed there he's got a bit more size on and that. But one thing about Buddy Franklin, he can do it on the ground, and he can do it from a long way out, Lynchy. We know if he's got it at 60, it's probably going home. But one thing about tonight's game, it's going to be big hype around Buddy Franklin.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And the first bounce about to come up. Dwayne, take it away.
Lance Franklin starting inside 50 as you would expect. No Kurt Tippett, of course, for the Sydney Swans, and maybe have a chat to Kurt. He might not be there for round 1 either, from what we understand. There's Laidler, one of their new recruits for the Sydney Swans, handing it off immediately. Stolen back again. Sidestep. Scott Selwood, the captain for the West Coast Eagles tonight. Govan tried to get it out. Wellingham, plenty of time to spin it around the body, and he has failed to score. And not just Scott Selwood captaining tonight, Tony Shaw. We saw it again. Reece Shaw, another Shaw captaining a team tonight.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Acting captain. It's been a long journey for Reece, of course. Much maligned here. He is right on cue. Beautifully done, Reece. But acting captain, and well done to him too, because he's gone through a bit in his footy life.
He has, and at some stage this year we'll probably see Heath captaining Greater Western Sydney.
You would think so.
Yeah, Rampy wearing that 24. Jude Bolton's old 24 has changed numbers over summer. Hanbury, Parker, hunted down by Marston, got him. Back to Hanbury, back to the boundary.
Gee, that was well done by Darling then, because Hanbury's a smart player, and he's not super quick, but Darling just hemmed him in to the boundary line to make him handball over the top there, and that's how this turnover occurred.
It's Derricks in the 19 for the Sydney Swans, the former Tiger. As Rampy taken to the boundary, kept it alive just in time with the handball, but O'Keefe smothered out of play. New players are plenty for both teams. At one stage, when the squads of 29 were named, there was a chance we were going to have 21 players for both teams combined that had never played for their club before, playing for their team for the first time tonight. Scott Selwood.
I don't know whether it's the first time Scotty Selwood's been captain or acting captain of West Coast. I would think Dwayne be close too, I would think.
Yeah, well, Glass has missed quite a few games over the course of the last couple of years, I suppose. But yeah, I'm not sure if he's ever captain one.
Captain though last year.
That was Hutchings kicking towards Sinclair, who's playing full forward. Spin around the body from Gaff, who might be a little bit rusty.
Gee, you had a lot of time then, Dwayne.
Yep.
He didn't, that's what happens when you just start to play your first or second practice match. You have time, you don't understand it, you need a lot of help. Oh, there's another ball in play here, so we'll have a bit of a stoppage here.
Yeah, Andrew Gaff did not play in the West Coast opening NAB Challenge match. That was a big win over Fremantle. And we saw Fremantle hit back in their second NAB Challenge match. So plenty can change in the NAB Challenge depending on how good your lineup is. This is Lewis Roberts-Thompson. Remember him? Getting a rare touch. Gets it off to the run of Lloyd. And here's another of those players who mentioned who hasn't played a home and away game yet. There's Lance Franklin. There's a good tackle on Brown. Got it to ground. Parker flicks it back. Wellingham bounces it towards half forward. Knock on by Laidler. And he knows how to play Jeremy Laidler. It's just that Mick didn't really want to play him last year. Rampy. Past Bird. New recruit Xavier Ellis there in the 18. If you didn't see him in game one of the NAB Challenge, he was in hot form. So too was Elliot Yeo, who's got it now wearing the 6.
Good skills.
Mark Nikoski's old number. So both the new recruits did look very good in that first game. Short pass attempt wasn't great from McGuinness. He's a big man wearing the 36. He's another that hasn't played a home and away game yet. Marston towards full forward, and LRT knows how to rush him.
Well, LRT, when he was playing great football, Paul Roos said he was one of the first picked in their team just because of the trustworthiness of the man. And I think he'll play a big part this year, depending on some of their senior players in defence, whether they get injured or not.
Lysette tried to flick back to Darling. Scott Selwood. Keith got his hands in the air. Didn't appear to dispose of it well. Lysette. A little bit of a conversation here between the two umpires. The goal umpire not exactly sure as to whether that was a goal or not, or a behind. We think it's a behind.
And look at the review. He shows some good signs, Lysette, in his short career after where he's come from. He's looks like he's a player of the future, no doubt about that.
When you talk about Nat and Nui and Lysette, they're the next. That's the generation of ruckman. When Dean Cox might call it a day, so no doubt about that being a point, Dwayne.
Yes, and that is conclusive, which is good news.
Review completed, confirmed behind.
Some of the reviews not conclusive, but reports in the last 24 hours that more goal line technology will be paid for by the AFL, which will be fantastic innovation. Here's Lysette again. Front spot against him was Derricks. Franklin lurking on the wing, moving up the ground. Brown right with him, takes it to the line.
And pushing right up the ground, just trying to use his athleticism to turn his opponent around. And I think that's what you want to do as a big forward. Get up the ground, get involved, clash of bodies, or get the hand in the ball on the boot as quickly as you can.
Through hands, Marston shrugs the tackle. Kick smothered. Lance Franklin wearing the 23, of course, the famous number that he wore at Hawthorn, and we saw that given up. Jordan Lockyer had the 23 on the Sydney Swans list, and he gave that up to Lance Franklin and took over 18.
Graciously, they said, Dwayne, too.
Darling, well, the $10 million man wants the number. The $10 million man gets the number. A little nudge out. And it's been pretty good early. Fraser McGuinness. Scott Selwood. Centering kick. Done clear.
Great sport.
Lewis Roberts-Thompson. Flick to the back. Hanbury. Felt for the contact with the tackle.
Tell you what, it's been pretty hot out there, Dwayne, early. The players have got the ball, haven't got a lot of time straight away, so they've been finding it hard to get away from these clearances.
Round one's not too far away now. There's a number of players out there still trying to cement their spot in the team.
Scott Selwood touched, so that's a behind as well. had it down their end most of the evening so far. The captain, Shaw, goes wide. Smith, light drizzle falling right now. It stopped for a little while. The outer side, Reed. Good second grab on Schofield.
Well, they haven't been inside 50 yet, the Swans, Dwayne, so 4-0 at the moment.
But he's got the 50 to himself. But he's going to have to push up to get on the end of this one.
Long bomb was from the boot of Lloyd. Here he is. Couldn't quite get there for the mark. Bird.
It's interesting too, Mitch Brown playing on Buddy Franklin's having to start a couple of metres behind. We know it's breezy conditions, and we mentioned it in the opener, Lynch. He's not a marked and lead player, so happy to keep him in front, and he's obviously going to have to work pretty hard to get back to goal tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and from a defensive point of view, you don't mind your opponent having 10 or 12 marks north of the wing, but if they can turn you around and running back towards goal, that's when you're in trouble. So experienced defending there.
Mentioned no Tippett, no goods as well for round one for the Sydney Swans, so you're going to have a forward line for the first few rounds that won't necessarily be their forward line for the year. Bird, the chip kick, and O'Keefe to line up.
Well, I think if you play on Buddy at any time, it depends on where he starts anywhere on the ground. Like if he starts on the wing and becomes a wing, this is a great ball, great vision there up the ground and great execution of the pass. But if he starts from the goal square, there's no use being behind him. If he starts it, you've got to play 5 metres in front and hope you can get a little bit of stoppage on the supply. So it just really depends on where he starts more than who he is and how he plays.
Yeah, you've got to protect the dangerous space, and certainly you can't allow him to turn you around.
Xavier Ellis, another possession. Might be turned over though. Just went for the boundary, Jeremy Laidler. Probably could have marked that. He's come to the Sydney Swans as a free agent. 2 games at Geelong, 24 at Carlton, delisted free agent at his 3rd club. Now played 19 games in 2011 under Brett Ratton, but
he would have eaten that, Dwayne. 2 years ago, he was one of the best intercept marks in the competition, I think in the top 5 in the year. So he would have eaten that 2 years ago, but maybe lacking a bit of confidence.
That didn't go out. Sharab Wellingham pounced on it. Heads toward the goal square. LRT turned inside out. Not quite McGuinness. Darling.
Good tackle.
Splendid tackle. Smith wrapped him up. It's his forte. Held in there for a while. Crazy scramble to the boundary. He's just the one game for Carlton last year, Jeremy Laidler under Mick Malthouse, so decided to make the move.
Had that dislocated kneecap a couple of years ago, I think it was at Etihad Stadium, that really just stopped a rich vein of form.
Holding the man.
So Marston not allowed to play onto advantage from an infringement in the ruck, according to the umpire. So Callum Sinclair, who played 5 games last year off the rookie list, starting 2014 on the senior list. Upgraded rookie. And drives it through. All rookies allowed to play in the NAB Challenge, but they have to be upgraded, of course, to play in round 1. It looks as if Callum Sinclair might be on track for round 1.
Now there's Buddy Franklin, but we'll focus on Jeremy Laidler and his journey in his AFL career. Started back on the rookie list for the Geelong Footy Club, played the 1 game in his first few years, 9 and 10. Made the transfer across and was outstanding in 2011. Early 2004, as we said before, dislocated the kneecap and just really put paid to a career best form that he was in, and just didn't get back in favour with the coach last season. So took the chance to move to another club, found the Sydney Swans, and they always like a running halfback here at the SCG when they play at the home grounds, and they've had some great ones over the years.
I think they suit each other beautifully, especially the SCG where you just sit behind play.
Franklin, well played by Brown, didn't let him have free run to the ball. Yo turns it over.
You can go right back to Mark Browning, playing off halfback, one of the greats for Sydney Swans, outstanding across halfback with that big left boot.
Jake Lloyd on the rookie list playing today.
Oh, that's a good grab.
And has been paid, has it? Has been paid. Good grab to McGovern, who Jeremy McGovern, an elevated rookie, was on the rookie list but elevated for 2014. had some hip surgery, so good to see him playing well. Schofield, a half forward, almost Sinclair. Laidler jumped on, Sinclair jumps on it, shoots toward goal and nearly had his second.
Well, I mean, Sinclair, he missed the first game last year with Nick Natanui out of the side, came in, played 5 in a row, looked really good, and then I think you mentioned before, Dwayne, he just had those problems with injuries, just interrupted the remainder of the season, so looks fit and well, and he's good at ground level as well.
Yeah. Shepherd, top of the square, fist down. Hanbury thought he had a piece of that. He goes and gets it again. Caught though, and again this massive pack around it. Look at it, 20 players all screaming at the umpire to ball it up.
Very Sydney-like, isn't it? They're just the way they've got their numbers back and try and work it out.
Every player in the defensive 50 for the Sydney Swans.
There's more in that shot than there is in the outer here at Blacktown. Not a big crowd, it's got to be said. Gaff, caught, Darling, initial sidestep, Rowan, O'Keefe, Smith. There's a few in the outer, which is good. There's a couple on the grass.
There's a couple out there.
You kids have come along.
Oh, it's a great opportunity to see some talented players, a couple of the top teams over the last decade, the Sydney Swans and the West Coast Eagles, and their star recruit, and he's off.
Malcheski.
And you touched on, boys, just in terms of the way Sydney squeezed up, but West Coast down here organising themselves really quickly, and obviously the inside 50s not coming for the Swans at the moment, but just really organised down here in terms of the West Coast defence.
Derricks puts it up in hope. Hearn should pounce, knocked away by Mike Pike. Parker shoots it back. O'Keefe to Hanbury. Turnover. Hutchings, well, he dropped that. Had to throw it away in the end. Wilson, Hearn. Derricks backs back with the flight. It's the 2 games for the Tigers. Another delisted free agent, Laidler.
And there's that spot up for grabs to partner with Mike Pike. So Derricks is, after last week, in the early stages, he's put his hand up.
Lloyd, good little nudge to the back. Yes, of course, Shane Mumford gone, for those people unaware, has left the Sydney Swans over summer for Greater Western Sydney.
Yeah, there's a reasonable chance they might just go with the one ruckman.
Rowan.
Now that's the Franklin impact there, boys, because Rowan doubled back around the back and 2 players went to Buddy Franklin about 25 metres away from goal. So they could have kicked the ball there, but that was well thought out, and Rowan just got the freedom because of Buddy's, them being overconscious of him.
Returned from a badly broken leg last year to play 5 games in 2013. This could be the year. We've been waiting for a while, and that is a splendid kick at goal. Sensational start for Gary Rowan.
He does some exciting things. Doesn't get big numbers, but it is great to see him get a good pre-season under his belt after had about 3 or 4 weeks into the NEFL before coming back into senior football.
Let's try and see if we can get behind the scene what happens up the ground. We can just see there Buddy's got 2, one, but the man there goes to him. Then the player in front looks at him. I think it's 24.
Benell.
Yeah, Matt Rosa and Benell.
Oh, okay.
So those sort of players, it just allows another player to get free. This is the strength of Buddy Franklin. They don't want him kicking goals all the time. They love that. But if he doesn't, he's going to create things like that for his teammates.
Schofield having a chat to Brown to see who goes to Lance Franklin this time. Pike in the ruck. Clearance from Hutchings. Laidler waits for the bounce. Hill right with him. Perfect bounce. Couldn't quite get away though, Hill. And Grundy takes it to the boundary.
Grundy, but outstanding defender. Just saw a bit of a mistake about 2 minutes ago. Let the ball get over the back. He wouldn't be happy with that, but he's just the pre-season.
Yes, the good players can sometimes just wind their way into the season. They don't have to impress everybody during pre-season. You can get yourself right for round 1 knowing you're going to play round 1. He played every game last year, Heath Grundy, so I wouldn't think there's much chance of him not being there in round 1, even if he has a bad one tonight.
No, his partnership with Ted Richards has been outstanding over the last 3 or 4 years. 2 players have worked their way through. Ted Richards came from Essendon, and Grundy's worked his way through this list to be one of the premier defenders in the competition.
I'm really worried about it, Lynchy, because that is exactly what I was thinking about, and I'm worried that you thought about it at the same time. But you are right. It's just a team within the team, isn't it?
Yeah.
And really the seniority of that defensive unit.
And we see so much those two guys work in partnership. One will lock his direct opponent down, the other will float across either spoil or take the mark. So that sort of teamwork comes with just continuity in training and playing together for a number of years.
Grundy gives Lance Franklin another touch. O'Keefe, Laidler, messing with it a little, but maintaining possession is a good thing if you can get the outlet kick. And nice pass to Lewis Roberts-Thompson from Grundy this time.
And we saw that pass from Buddy Franklin. Then he took off to try to get into the forward 50 in front of his opponent, but just slow transition off halfback has allowed Brown to pick him up.
Now Chesky long, hoping for Reid. Used his body magnificently on Brown. And Schofield, I should say.
Gee, that's a good kick too, off one step.
Brandon Jack. No one in the square, blazed away, bad move. Mark taken by Wilson. Blaine Wilson plays onto the outer side. He's got Scott Selwood and Dane Rampy in a one-on-one. Rampy also coming off a good 2013. Turnover, Bennell. Yo. Shepherd.
You mentioned Rampy coming off a good 2013. Almost the find of the Sydney Swans last year, his evolution. I mean, played 23 games. Was their rising star at Sydney last year.
Yeah, this time last year he was on the rookie list.
Yep.
So if you can upgrade a rookie to play 23 games, he's doing something right, especially in a team that's winning.
Yeah, he's just a lock in the back line now. You just put him there, pick up the small defenders or mid-size forwards on the opposition, rather. Very good player.
Pretty scrappy game, as we mentioned, boys, early, but the clearances 8-3 in favour of West Coast. It's not only Sydney's strength, but the hardness around the ball. We said Simo will bring a bit, and obviously the rotations and stuff like that will pay off.
Yeah, no Mumford, no Jude Bolton as well. We've seen Dane Rampy wearing Jude Bolton's old 24, so a little has changed for the Sydney Swans over summer. Maybe a lot's changed when you consider that they've added guys like Lance Franklin as well. Lewis Roberts-Thompson hoping for Reid. Oh, he had a piece of it. Brandon Jack, speed. And this is Dean Towers, another player yet to play a home and away game who could have a big 2014.
Brandon Jack just showed the great front and centre work. And I think, I don't know, Litchie, I don't know whether he's as good as his brother when he first came to the club, whether his knowledge of the game is as good, but he's got that leg speed that allows him to get into the position. Let's have a look here. You don't see it very often because you normally get a lot of packs and players back. That is magnificent reading off the pack.
Yeah, that's not about leg speed. Sure he is. I mean,
it's just the knowledge of where it's going.
But very nice work. He had some great games, Brandon Jack. From what I hear in the under-18 system in New South Wales, he wasn't highly rated. He wasn't in as far as skills concerned. But you need something special to play in the AFL, and he's certainly got the pace. And on that occasion, he showed that he can read the ball as well.
I think he might have some work ethic, which his brother shows, and just a great competitive instinct.
Yep.
And an athletic sports mind, if you can adapt. Grundy about to jump. Off hands. Now Chesky, Laidler, Hutchings waits under this. It's the second one he's dropped, and this is a little greasy out there with the rain. Derricks flicks it back. It's Robinson for the Sydney Swans, a rookie list player wearing the 27. To Shaw, Parker. Heads back again to Robinson, dropped the mark, and got himself in a mess. Yeah. Scott Selwood, Gaff. Bounce pass from Marston back to Gaff. And that'll do. Kick for touch.
As Dicko said, in some ways, the West Coast Eagles midfield's on top. But I tell you who's going all right for the Sydney Swans is Ryan O'Keefe. He's had 11 disposals at this early stage of the game. And there's some talent in the grandstand. Adam Goods and there's a number of other talented players up there.
Later dives. I'll go through the list of those talented players that are playing. No Goods, no McVeigh, who you saw, Kurt Tippett, Josh Kennedy, Kieran Jack, Ted Richards, Ben McGlynn, Tom Mitchell and Alex Johnson, all not playing for the Swans in this game here tonight. So you would expect that Well, nearly all of those would play as soon as they're available. A few won't be available for round one. Adam Goods and Kirk Tippett, we understand, both won't be available for round one.
And you mentioned Tom Mitchell. He's only playing his second season, but he was very good last year and last week. Had 34 touches against GWS.
Yeah. Parker caught. Good tackle by Lysette, and that's one of the reasons why Reece Shaw, who chases this, is tackling. There's Adam Goods, and if they can get him, Kirk Tippett and Lance Franklin firing inside 50, look out. Got to go for the record here and let West Coast Eagles fans know who's not playing for them. Gaff, Nat Nui, Glass, Waters, Jacob Brennan, Mark Lacroix, Matt Prittis,
Dean Cox.
There, Josh Kennedy, Eric McKenzie, Dean Cox and Luke Shuey.
A few bit of talent there.
Couple out.
Yeah, it's hard to know who's got the bigger list of talent out. Suffice to say, they've both got a lot of talent out, and we're seeing a lot of players in this game that won't be playing in round one, but who knows, by round 15 or 16 you might know them well. Hanbury. Geez, run a fair way with the ball. And he got him.
He was looking to give it off.
Did he go that far, or he just turned and held it for a long period of time? Yeah, little steps.
So if you run a 10-metre circle around, once you've done a circle and a half, that's 15 metres. Darling. Heads wide. Big fist. Parker, Laidler, playing some good football for the Sydney Swans, their new recruit. Bird, he's got Malcheski out wide, sits it on him. Hearn thought about going for it, but decided just to block him up, stop him from playing on quickly.
Well, that's
a ball from Rosa.
Free kick has to be front on contact.
Well, Rosa might have got the ball with his fist there for a second, but free kick to Robinson. As I mentioned earlier, on their rookie list, a regular member of Swans reserves last year and scholarship player. Oh, big leap, no mark. That time from Derricks. Lysette. Schofield. Ellis. Swans have the numbers in the middle, so they should attack quickly here. Mike Pike is a long way down. Grundy. All the way back to Xavier Richards, the brother of Teddy. Smith. O'Keefe. Pumps it wide, a little too wide. West Coast with the numbers again, and Hutchings takes the mark.
Just been able to get in position very quickly, the Sydney Swans, just to block this up, just to stop that outlet pass into space. Marston was there, but he was well covered.
Shepherd. Full-length quarters in the NAB Challenge. 20 minutes plus time on, as they are in the home and away season. 2 minutes from quarter time. Schofield.
I love the way he plays. I love the way he takes the game on. A lot of players would have propped when they got that switch of play, which made it easy for the defence, but at least Schofield takes the game on.
Wellingham. Well, he went for the short pass to Marston and missed it completely. No Swans on the way back, though, waiting for it, so they mop up their mess, the West Coast. Chip kick to McGovern. Sinclair.
This is what, to beat the zone, Sinclair, I reckon, nearly had to handball that straight away if someone was on, just to get it moving quicker.
Oh, that's a good second grab. McGuinness. Fraser McGuinness, their pick 28 back in 2011. It's his third season on the list. He's got a little bit of footy blood too. Nephew of former Eagle Michael Brennan, and Robert Wiley, I think, is related to as well.
Good size.
Yeah. And he misses.
Very athletic. That's a good reach. Might have been a little fist involved there. But you've got to claim those.
So a tight opening term. It's a very Sydney Swans-like kind of game in many respects.
Well, it could be the new West Coast Eagles too, under Adam Simpson.
That's true, Tony Shaw. We are seeing the evolution, although in their first game against Fremantle, they seemed to score rather freely. They did have a 15-goal breeze in the opening term they kicked with in that game, which made a little bit of a difference. But they've only managed one goal on the opening term here so far, up against different opposition. Lloyd being told to hold, so it sounds as if the Swans are just going to take these seconds off the clock.
Shut down for the quarter, and Long staying close to the line.
Franklin's got 3 to beat. Can't get near it. Ducks back inside 50, Lance Franklin. Waits back for the quick kick, which doesn't come. He might run forward and tackle here. No. Use the hip and shoulder, which has been his downfall a couple of times with suspensions, Lance Franklin. It's getting harder to hip and shoulder every year. If you have head-to-head contact in 2014, you're in trouble, even if it's accidental. Quarter time here at Blacktown in outer Sydney, or should we say outer Western Sydney. It took the West Coast a while to get here. I think they were about an hour late on the bus. And it's the Sydney Swans by 1 point in game 16, part of Fox Footy's 18 games in 18 days. And don't forget, they keep coming tomorrow night, Melbourne and Geelong, Alice Springs. The Cats a little depleted. Paul Roos, his demons up and firing after a NAB Challenge round 1 win. That's tomorrow night on Fox Footy. Welcome back to Blacktown, and the Lance Franklin show is up and running. Sydney Swans and the West Coast Eagles here in outer Sydney tonight as part of Fox Footy's 18 games in 18 days. He's had a couple of touches in the opening term. Sydney Swans lead at quarter time by the 1 point, 2 straight 12 to the West Coast, 1-5-11. Great to have your company wherever you might be watching around the land. Perfect conditions down there at the moment, although the light drizzle has stopped, which is great news. Let's head back down there. Ben Dixon, our 200-game star on the boundary, and he's got a special guest, 2-time best and fairest for the Swans, Jared McVeigh.
Thanks, Dwayne. Jared, you spent the first quarter up in the box with John and the coaching staff. What's the report from the first quarter?
Not too much. Look, he's pretty relaxed up there. Look, our ball movement through the first quarter, wasn't great. We've got to try and get through the middle there and, get it in deep to our forwards who are quite kick. So we have to do that a bit more.
And we've had a big focus tonight already on Big Buddy Franklin, his first game. You got a smile on your face. He's gone up there to hide at Bondi. How's he travelling with that?
I don't think he can hide anywhere, but no, look, he's fit in really well. We're rapt to have him on board, and the way he's trained, and the leadership and the knowledge he's brought from a really, really good premiership team has been unbelievable for us.
Jared, could I just ask you, we were talking about Brandon Jack, showed some good signs in that first quarter. What's the difference between Brandon and Kieran that you can see as a youngster coming to the club, how they go about their football?
Yeah, look, Brandon's a lot harder and tougher than Kieran, so that's probably one of the main things.
Yeah.
No, look, he's got enormous speed. He's really good, good front and square work as we saw in the first quarter, and he's still learning the game as well. His skills need to improve a little bit, but they're both coming from a rugby league background. They're both it's a great story, and we've all seen Kieran play as an unbelievable leader and hard at the footy, and they both work extremely hard on their game and on the field as well.
Jared, speaking of leaders, Reece Shaw is your captain tonight. Fantastic to see him out there fit and well, played fantastically well against GWS after the tough run with injuries that he's had. Tell us about his recovery.
Yeah, look, he's had a hard run last year. He tore his ab early on in the year, then unfortunately did his knee, but the last surgery for him was unbelievable. He did whatever he could. He didn't go on a break after the season. I don't even think he went on his honeymoon. So he had a lot of time working on his knee, working on his fitness, and he's seeing the rewards now.
That's strange to think. Who went on his honeymoon for him?
I meant to say they might have held it back a bit.
Oh, right, okay. Just thought we'd clarify that. 12 plays 11, Sydney Swans leading by a point, and a restart here in the middle. Derek's doing some ruck work, and the umpire's gone down. He was beaten in the ruck by Lycett, who's coming off a good first term again. Hutchings to half forward. Darling couldn't pick it on the run. Scott Selwood does. Again, Swans getting numbers back. It's Robinson in the 27 for Sydney, their rookie-less player, one of them getting a taste of it. Sinclair and Roberts Thompson go hard. Darling tried the don't argue on a couple. Malcheski, after getting it from Cunningham, heads toward Reid on the wing. Schofield right with him. Hearn Thought about taking it to the line and did it cleverly, fumbled it across in the end.
Jared, just want to chat briefly about Sam Reid. We saw last year he really struggled, particularly in the first half of the season. He had his own problems with injuries, but the pre-season looks like he's really confident in his attack at the ball and taking the ball cleanly.
Yeah, look, Reedy's an unbelievable player. We really rate him. And, there's been a lot of talk about Ted and Franklin, but Reedy's one of those players, we love playing with. He's got great hands, great leap. He works extremely hard, and also he reads the game really well. So he's a player we really can't wait to have him playing this year because, I've got a lot of faith in him.
We've heard over the last few weeks it sounds like he is going to play forward half. Is he capable of holding down a centre-half back as well as another option?
Yeah, I think so. Look, he played as a defender his whole junior career and when he first came to the Swans in the reserve grade. So he knows that role. He's going to have to learn a little bit. The game changed since then, but look, he's got great hands. He reads the ball like his brother, and hopefully he can become that versatile swing player.
And Jared, Dwayne's looking forward to calling Alir's name tonight. You prop the young players really well. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Shandy, he's come along and started really well, and every training session, every game we've played, he's got better and better, and he's a good kid to come around the club, and he was a Swans fan beforehand too.
Talk us through this one if you like, Jared. This is your new recruit. He looks in good nick.
Yeah, hopefully he can kick straight. Is this for 9, is it?
9. Yep.
We'll wait and see here. I think he's worked on his technique a bit. I don't think that's enough. Out the full. He hasn't worked on it at all.
No, that's a point. He's right.
No, you got a point.
Beautiful.
A bit of trademark Lance Franklin. Coming off a 60-goal season last year, but it could have been so many more. We've talked about that a lot. He's kicking over time. Rosa takes them. Has he actually been working on his kicking, or did he have a quad problem?
Look, yeah, he did have a quad problem early. I think it was just a bit of soreness, getting back into the training loads. But yeah, look, we work on our goal kicking. Every player does every single day. So it's one of our main things that we've got to work on because you've got to kick the goals to win games.
What about yourself, Jared? Last year, we moved the half back, had a sensational year. Is that the position you probably start? We know you can play midfield at any time and even small forward, but is that where you think you play the majority?
I think I'll be midfield more this year with Shorey and Alex Johnson coming back. But okay. We've seen nowadays you got to have to be versatile. So I'll probably be down there at some stage, definitely.
We're talking to Jared McVeigh on the boundary line. We'll be talking to a few stars during the course of the night. Hopefully have a chat to Kirk Tippett as well a little later on and find out the latest with him. Darling about to break free, couldn't quite trap it and go, and there's the pack. The umpire will have to sort out. Jared, obviously Adam Goods won't play round 1. He'll have a few missing round 1.
Yeah, we will. Disappointing to see Goodsy not play, but it's a long season and we want him for the back end of the year, and just hopefully he can get over those knee issues, and obviously a super player and a champion of the game. So when you run out with Goodsy, the whole team stands taller.
Been great to have a chat to you. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Jared McVeigh on the boundary line down there with Mike Pike, who is getting some work to wipe the blood. Talked about Alir yet to play in this game tonight. He is one of the subs for the Sydney Swans, but Swans took him pick 44 in last year's draft, the first Sudanese player to be drafted, and another one of the great stories that's evolved over the course of this summer. There he is, Alir with the subs vest on, born in a refugee camp in Kenya.
Yeah, it's a great story, fantastic story.
I read a bit of his story today, excuse me, in The Age, and he said he went to his coach, he said, that thing when they jump on top of people's shoulders and grab the ball, is that legal? And the coach said, yeah, and he goes, oh, I like that, that's what I do well.
He's very good at it too.
Hopefully we'll see that.
Oh, please.
Played mostly centre-half back for the Western Australian under-18 side last year. I think he was 4th in the spoils in the competition, so very athletic, great closing speed.
No, give the spoils away.
just go grab a couple?
Yeah, grab a couple.
Towers, Grundy, Bird. Just working it around defence.
I think we've overlooked the biggest story. It was Jared McVeigh said Brandon's harder than his brother.
Yeah, that was quite funny. That'll get back. Jetta, who's come on now, hasn't had a run so far tonight. Lewis Jetta has started as the sub, one of the subs for the Sydney Swans, and the subs can reset at half-time in the NAB Challenge. 6 interchange, 2 subs for the NAB Challenge.
Great smother from Sam Reid. It was just the left hand up.
Mike Pike's being subbed out for this half, but that means Mike Pike can still play in the second half. Darling hacked it forward. Disciplined fist from all the Swans that jumped in.
Interesting, Darling pushing up. Played a bit in the midfield last week. Obviously, 2 goals last year. 4 bags of 5. Really exciting half forward, but spending time in the midfield.
He does work
up really impressively. His
work rate is fantastic as the umpire gives him an enormous amount of time. You're right, Shuri.
No, he was trying to con the umpire that he couldn't get rid of that and didn't try to get rid of it. Maybe wanting to get another stoppage. I'm not too certain, but well done to the umpire on that occasion.
Willingham to Gaff.
I just think one thing up, the substitution, if they subbed off in the first half, they can't come back. They can come back in the second half.
They can in this competition, not in the main season.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, what about the NAB challenge next year that we just say we've got 8 interchange players? It just makes sense. It's only going to be off for a quarter.
Oh, maybe in the home and away, then we'll just say we've got 4 interchange players. Ellis.
Well, might as well.
Malcheski back. Derricks, he got himself in some trouble there, made it Jeremy Laidler's problem in the end.
Well, the sub in the normal year, I don't mind that, Dwayne, because it's a strategy thing which makes the coaches think a bit. But I'm thinking if you're subbed off in the first half and you can't come back in the second, you can come back in the second half. Now, just have 8 interchange players.
Yeah, it's not a real sub.
No, it's not really a sub.
In the NAB challenge. Just do it for the aesthetics of it.
Yeah.
Smith, that could be on the full. Was it touched?
On the full, I think.
West Coast Eagles say that it was not touched.
It wasn't touched, it was a really bad kick. And the full. Off who? Actually, the bench umpire was not sure.
Gee, Smith kicked it.
It was off the West Coast Eagles, Jack Darling. Off his shin, wasn't it?
Okay, clever work from Nick Smith. Lewis Roberts Thompson. Hemmed into the back pocket. Comes across.
Oh boy.
Got there. you said how Roosie had him pretty much penciled in as one of the first players selected. And that's because his flexibility. He can play on all types, back or forward, and if needed, he can pinch hit it in the ruck as well. He was one of the more important players in the competition at one stage when the Swans were up and going when he was fit.
Lloyd couldn't half volley it. West Coast Eagles now getting numbers there. Bird tried to get it off quickly. Hacked inside 50 towards the man we're speaking of, Darling. Pushed forward, Laidler kicks it outside 50 over Xavier Ellis.
It was good work from Ryan O'Keefe as well. I mean, he held his ground. He didn't really block, but
that was a decision for the umpire, wasn't it?
Well, that's right.
Whether he looked at the ball and said, I'm going to go under him, or...
He just didn't get out of the road, which he's entitled to do. Which effectively was a block, but you don't have to move out of the road.
No.
Cunningham to Jetta.
He's had 15 possessions so far, Ryan O'Keefe. He just... an amazing motor.
Again, they ignore Franklin, go longer, and that's a good mark taken by Naismith, who is a big, big unit. A very, very tall character he is. Derricks. Rowan lays a tackle on Wilson. Holds it in. The umpire waiting. He might be gone here. Gives him... Took us through Sam Naismith on their rookie list. Lynchy, you know a bit about him?
Well, he's 205 centimetres to start with. I mean, North Shore recruit, and had some problems last year with injury. I mean, I think it was broken thumb and a knee injury as well, so that limited his impact, but looks like a very well-equipped, physically imposing man. So I like their ruckman that they've got at the club at the moment.
Yes, we talked a little bit about the fact that they have sold or had to get rid of Shane Mumford, create a little bit of salary cap room for the new $10 million man.
Well, the Sydney Swans, they're not ones to normally recruit young ruckmen. They normally let someone else recruit them, mature them, and then they pinch them.
Glad Lance Franklin didn't try the bump there. A nudge on Xavier Ellis, and that puts him off the kick. Lewis Roberts Thompson. Can you believe that? Smith.
A lot of time out of the game.
Darling flicks it over. Cripps. Inboard. Dropped that sheet. Dom Sheet, another one of their new recruits for the West Coast Eagles. He was away there. Their pick 11. But it didn't quite work for him. He's wearing Daniel Kerr's old number 4. And there's...
We just spent 2 minutes wrapping up. But yeah, tough run last year with him. He's had a bit of time out of the game.
That's well done by Naismith, though. You said he's a big boy, and just the inclination to chase in the defensive part. fantastic. They've done this a little bit better than West Coast when they've been under pressure. It's just keep control of the ball. Except on that it goes, oh, that's a bit high.
Dom Sheed was wrapped up by
Okay, 2 hands over it.
those giant tentacles, if you want to use those.
The commentator who got that wrong once upon a time.
Yeah, like Jack Dyer, wasn't
Yeah, absolutely. High towards Darling, almost.
Oh, that's
brings
got
it down.
in the back.
Slippery
Pushed off
conditions.
it. Absolutely. Malcheski, Shaw, Hanbury, and even he fumbles but takes the mark.
Whoop.
There you go. Shaw fumbles. Jumped on by Cripps. Oh, the umpires see that. He might be in
doesn't
trouble.
like it.
Interesting, because Cripps jumped on him, stopped it from coming out.
Well, I think, again, the umpire might have got that right, because I think Reece Shaw, he fumbled and then looked like he didn't pull it in but fell over the ball. So another smart way of covering up that I want to get a stoppage here. Now, he should have made, no free, but he just dropped it to knees. He was gone on the ground, and that's like pulling the ball under him. I'll have to teach him that next time I see him in the backyard.
Sydney lead by 2 points. Jamie Cripps has squeezed it in. West Coast Eagles back in front.
Yeah, scrappy game, but good to see some of the young players like Cripps getting involved. And I mean, he's played a little bit of footy, come across from the Saints, and last week he kicked 3 goals against Freo. There's another replay. Or he's appealing to the umpire. He knows he's in trouble. He knows I'm gone here. I'm gone. Then the whistle goes, but still argues. That's fair enough. But Cripps, good to see him get the reward and kick the goal.
Buddy Franklin just came off, boys, rotating a little bit. It's not coming down as much, and he's obviously pumping out some multiple leads down here. Wouldn't be surprised if they have him up the ground a little bit.
Good point to go.
Toward the end of this quarter and even the second half. Just get him into the game.
I'm with you. I'd just throw him across half-back and see what they match up with, and just tell them to try and link up to get involved.
Got a little smaller, have the Sydney Swans. You saw Derricks, Lewis Roberts-Thompson and Lance Franklin all on the bench. Rose couldn't get it. Taken to the boundary by Wellingham.
Just
get a ball in.
Just a good defensive contest, isn't it?
It is. Certainly difficult conditions, but players are attacking the ball and tackling well.
The beard trend continues in 2014. Cunningham, Hanbury. There's that fumble again with a slippery ball. Rosa, kick smothered, taken to the line, and we'll get a ball in. Don't forget tomorrow night, Melbourne and Geelong from Alice Springs as the carnival continues around Australia. And then the final game of the NAB Challenge, game 18 of our 18 games in 18 days, is in Wagga, Greater Western Sydney and the Saints. So still 2 to come after tonight. Jeremy Laidler to pump this one back towards full forward. Naismith is down there. Puts it high, Reed's down there. Gee, the big man got up too, Naismith.
What about that kick then, Lynch? You see, a lot of us would think, go to the top of the square and put pressure on, but sides are reluctant to do that now. They come maybe to the point post in a... We can have a look here. Is that the out kick? I think it is. You don't get scored, you know, the rebound doesn't hurt you if it comes out of the corridor, and you can hem it in to get a stoppage like they've got then.
Yeah, got an opportunity to set up a stoppage, and we know the Sydney Swans are very efficient in this part of the game, although West Coast are being very good tonight in clearances.
The reach from Mike Pike. Sheed got a touch. It's a cleaner hand that time. Laidler again. Wellingham. Open space on the wing. Darling beaten for it that time. Rampy got there first.
Great.
Grundy. Malcheski for 9, you'd think. From outside 50. Now it's only for 1.
Just that kick that I spoke about then, an analogy is in Collingwood in 2009, before they won their premiership 210. I'm just saying this stands in my mind. They kicked the ball to that spot a lot. In 210, they went to the top of the goal square, and they were the best side in the comp of kicking goals from there, as in by crumb or marking the ball. So it's about how you're thinking mentally to how you're going to attack that situation.
Shaw to Bird, little fumble. But he was able to rake it in. Now we understand there's a Sydney Swan that's been injured with the face problem. That's Luke Parker in the rooms, so we'll keep an eye on Luke Parker played every game for the Swans last year, so he is a regular, one of their keys. No pun intended. We'll keep an eye on him over the next couple of quarters to see how bad that injury is. They're behind.
That's not good. I mean, you never like to see any injuries, but with the eye, that right eye, obviously chatting to the club doctor.
I don't think there's any greater pain, and I know you can get kicked in certain spots of your anatomy which hurt, but a poke in the eye, it just debilitates you, doesn't it? You just don't know how to relate to it. It can be a horrible thing to have.
You'd expect that's only a scratch. If it was bleeding, he'd be laying down. Normally they keep you still if you're bleeding to the eye. Bird and Naismith had the reach, couldn't bring it down. Sheed. And Dom Sheed wins himself the free kick. The old and the new, Lance Franklin, after 182 games for the Hawks, and Dom Sheed, debut, you'd think, for the West Coast in round one.
It's a cake of soap out there.
Yes. Hutchings gets it out. Lysette on the run. Brant College, another player yet to play a home and away game. He's wearing the 21 for the West Coast. Got it forward and we'll get a ball in.
Jared McVeigh, who we're just speaking to, and Jared Crouch, ex-Swans premiership player.
Known as the blanket there for a couple of years. Jared Crouch got under the skin of a number of players the way he was tagger.
The pest he was called for a while by you and your...
No, it wasn't me. I was going to say, I don't think Acker referred to him as that.
No, it was, yeah. Well, he called him something else.
One of your team.
As a matter of fact, he did say, I don't think he can play. Is that what he... That was the way it came out, wasn't it?
He certainly could play. There's no doubt about that.
He got under his skin a bit.
Yeah.
Bird to Shaw. Franklin. He manhandled Schofield. He was equal to it. Schofield keeps it in front. Franklin's hassle, magnificent to watch. Naismith through his legs, and there's a bit of room there. Gaff dragged down, jumped on, no free. Shepherd bounces it inside 50. Now Chesky dragged down by Hill. Got it up just in time to Rampy. Wanted to get it back again from the running Xavier Richards, who goes longer. Towers, who has some speed, takes on Bennell. Only a behind.
I think I'm not just talking about Buddy Franklin here, but I take the message out to him. Just don't get frustrated. Everybody's struggling with the ball at the moment. We've got a tight defensive game here. We want you to be a star. We want you to play well, but don't get frustrated with what's happening. Everybody's going through it tonight. He might be just thinking, oh, geez, my first hit out. I want to do something special to impress. And you just got to watch that you're overdo it and can get into trouble doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's tough in practice matches in early season games for key forwards as well. The ball's not flowing off halfback as easily. So you have to generally take some contested grabs or get right up the ground. So it is a tough situation for him. What you said before, I'd whack him across half-back, get him involved, get him the run. He can still get some forward 50 entries and marks down there, but use that as a starting point.
Good attack from Reid. Turns and kicks. Gee, not a bad hit. He's put it through from a stand-start. Sydney back in front. Now, both these teams do have one more hit-out before their round one game. The West Coast Eagles have a trial against Fremantle. And the Sydney Swans are playing the Brisbane Lions Saturday week at a place called Burpengary, which I think is about halfway between Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast.
Yep, that's right. Good work, Dwayne.
I pronounced it correctly, Burpengary.
Yeah, you've done very well. Sam Reid's been one of the most encouraging players for mine in the first 6 quarters of football we've seen this season. He looks like he's moving well, hasn't had a big disposal game, but looks like he's getting involved, looks like he's confident when he goes at the ball.
It's going to be a massive quandary for the coaching staff, I would think, when they're all up and going. Tippett, Franklin, Reid, just the amount of talent and how you rotate and move and use that, especially at the SCG.
Does Reid go back?
Oh, I'm not too certain then. And then your ruck situation too, with no Mumford now. Yeah, they normally play Pike and Mumford as big bloke in the square a lot of times. I don't know whether they do that again.
Well, it's just whether you go with Tippett as the ruck, support just to play 15% in the ruck, Pike get
forward.
Just a very small rest on the bench. But then, if you've got knee tendonitis, you probably don't want him jumping in the ruck as well. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks in the lead up to round 1 for that coaching staff there.
And then when they're all up and about, you throw Adam Goods there and he gets the 5th worst defender. Well, he's just been licking his lips, hasn't he?
He's a new recruit. If he gets through this pre-season, or gets into the year early, he's a horrible matchup for any coach. Great rebound here.
Brandon Jack puts it to Lance Franklin to one-on-one. Unkind bounce for both Franklin and probably kind for Brown. It rolled towards the line. And we get a ball in. There's Adam Goods.
Missed a few games over the journey a couple of years ago, but had that real long stretch where he I think went close to 200 games straight.
You play him on a wing. I think he might play on a fair bit on the wing most of this season.
Hanbury to Bird, messing with it. Back to Smith. They've messed with it to the point that it's out of play. And there's Murray Newman for the West Coast. He's come on. He's allowed to play. The AFL hasn't made a decision on whether Murray Newman or Marley Williams can play for their respective teams in round 1. We'll watch that space, but so far so good for Murray Newman. Can take his place for the West Coast Eagles tonight.
Important year for Murray. I mean, he was West Coast's first draft pick a couple of years ago, was delisted end of last season and put on the rookie list, so really important 6 or 7 months ahead.
Yes, absolutely. An important, I think, month and a half ahead especially.
Yep.
High kick inside 50. Schofield. Marston almost run down. Bounces it to Lysette. Couldn't quite pick it on the run. Neither could Smith. Flicked up in the end by College. He did well. Got it to McGovern. Long kick forward. Oh, good pluck from Grundy. Didn't have the first grab necessarily. Has been a scrappy contest.
As you can see, boys, Sherrod Wellingham and Xavier Ellis have been subbed out at this stage.
Oh, nearly Franklin Yo just cut it off on the run for the West Coast. Heads wide towards Shepherd. You'd expect a close contest between these two, though. They've got a tradition of close contests.
Have they what?
For about 6 years in a row, wasn't it?
That's it.
An amazing stretch of games where, on most occasions, just a goal separated the two teams.
Yeah, back-to-back grand finals, 05 and 06. These two teams only meet once, though, in 2014, and that's not until round 16. So we'll have to wait a while for the close home and away game between these two in 2014.
You reckon with that history, you'd nearly see these two as blockbusters, just because of the history of it and haven't played twice a year, every year, because we know the fixtures, lopsided. We have blockbusters every year anyway.
Sinclair got it to half forward. Play on. Almost looked like a mark from here, but unfortunately not paid to Mark Hutchings. West Coast to high. McGinnity now on. He's a sub as well, so he's come on. As I mentioned, subs can reset at half-time.
Mentioning of subs, Dwayne, warm up the vocals. Aliyah is just about to come on the ground.
Not long left though, Dicko. Ben Dixon down on the boundary line for us. And here is Aliyah. There's his athletic profile.
There's got to be. There will be a chant. If he has a couple of knockout games, there will be a chant going around the SCG or wherever he plays. And Reece Shaw, as acting captain, just went up to him and probably said, just go for it, mate, I would think. We want you to play within the team rules, but just show us your talent, I would think.
Off the side of the boot from Grundy. Hearn can get there and might bang it goalward from the 50. Just dragged down at the last moment. And taken to the boundary line. Not quite kept alive. We'll get a ball in. Yeah, it is a great story, Aliyah, as we mentioned. First ever Sudanese player to be drafted. He was picked 44 in last year's draft. Came to Australia at the age of 7 with his parents, and finally, after living in Sydney and Queensland for a little while, settled in WA, and he has turned into an AFL player. great calibre from what we understand. Yo. Short pass from the boot of Carter. Adam Carter, another sub that's come on. His first half for the West Coast. Ball out of play.
Big Mike Pike now that Mumford's gone from the club. He needs a big year too. He's shown that he can play the game. He's a premiership player now. Proved a lot of people wrong, but he really had to stand up this year, Dwayne.
Yeah, he had a sensational 2013, as Alistair Lynch said earlier. Unlucky not to be All-Australian, and in the end didn't even make the squad of 40, which was rather bizarre. So Alia's still on the boundary line. He might only get 60 seconds here. There's Mike Pike.
That is amazing, isn't it? Top 4 goal kickers from ruckman in the competition. He leads it. That's what happened. He used to sit in the square, and so did Mumford, and that allowed him to have flexibility, taking another tall off and go small in front of him at times, Sydney Swans. So with Mumford gone, they're going to have to find another person to do that role.
And he was the most accurate kick in the competition at goal. 28 goals, 8. No other player had that percentage.
You know why? Because I think he's so robotic. It's straight line robotic, which is when you weren't brought up with the game. That's the way you're probably going to learn.
I think you were right the first time. You said he marks a lot in the goal square. High,
close to goal.
Bomb towards goal by Newman. Off hands. Slick hands. Hill on the run. He misses. Doing a good job down there, the young girl goal umpiring.
Have to find out her name. We give Chelsea Coffee all the credit, but it's great to see. They do say it won't be long till we might have a female field umpire, Dwayne.
Smith,
natural progression.
Wilson at the back. He's got Shepherd. 39 seconds. Franklin drags him down. Came out to Carter, who couldn't break away. Lloyd, the Swans in the 44. Knocked on beautifully by Reid. To Rowan. To Towers, who could go for goal if he wants to. Had a bounce and fumbled. Hearn. Now maybe enough time for the West Coast to have a go. Hearn tried the shrug, turns it over. Naismith. So he needs to bang this forward to Franklin. For Franklin to have one last chance at a shot at goal. Puts it in Lance's direction. Brown engages him. Off hands. Half time. It's been a close, tight first half between these two, as you would expect. It's always close between these two. 4 points the margin. The Sydney Swans 3-4-22 to the West Coast Eagles. 2 goals, 6-18. We've seen a little bit of Lance Franklin, and we've looked forward to seeing a bit more of him in the second half. He hasn't really done much to trouble the scorers yet, but he's still been worth the ticket for entry here as we head back downstairs to Alistair Lynch.
Thanks, Dwayne. Yes, there's no doubt there's been a massive focus with the crowd here tonight on Lance Franklin. He's struggled to get into the game, but there's no doubt he's working hard.
Oh, there is, and multiple leads. Sometimes when you're trying too hard, Lynchy, you can't get near it. But, I mean, you used tonight to blow the cobwebs out. He's pushed up the ground, but not as deep as I'd like, because I want to see him get up a bit behind the ball to get into the game. But as you said, he's tried hard, but sometimes that's the worst thing he can do.
Yeah, no doubt we'll be in for a big second half. He's working extremely hard. Time for a break here at Blacktown. When we come back, we'll hear from Fox Footy's 4 Scribes when they discuss West Coast in 2014.